Welcome back to Fischtank Talks. This is Greg, and I'm in Jake's studio. This is my good friend Jake Hanson. Everybody say hello to Jake. Jake, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Man, it was like when you hit me up and said you wanted to partake, dude. I was so happy because like you're just one of the coolest individuals that I've ever met, and
thanks, man.
I'm glad that we're friends. So, so where are we at here? What's going on?
This is Steelman Studios. I got, my pride and joy #1 kit, Babinga, Tama Babinga, 2003 Exotic Series Midnight Storm. It's it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now, and I'm like, man, it's a beautiful set, and the way that this guy plays the drums, I'll have to put a little video on screen of Jake doing something cool, maybe. Yeah. So, how did you start playing drums, man? Where'd that go? Church?
Church.
That's funny.
Yes. It all comes down to church. In Willows, our Christian Center, my good friend Noah, he was in the church band, and they had an electric drum kit up there, and Marcy, she was the drummer, and I just was always just fascinated with it, and I was always scared to ask to play him, and finally she let me, and it was like, I don't know, natural. And then just started learning one beat and kind of went from there,
Oh, that's funny you brought up the church because that's where I first started playing music. But like I wasn't going to church or anything. It's not something I saw. A friend of mine, Mark, he knew that I played guitar. And he was like, well, maybe he can play the bass because they were looking for a bass player. So they invited me to come play the bass. And I was either 14 or 15 in high school. And they bought me a bass guitar, and I started playing bass in the church. And like that was the only reason I had gone to the church. But it was still just cool learning how to play with people. And like it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
It was a good experience for me too. I ended up getting into the youth band, and we would go to like these youth retreats, and they'd be like a weekend or something like that, or we'd go. I remember one time we went up to Paradise to another place and played, and it was a good experience.
Yeah. So you said church in Willows. That's where you're from, right? Willows, California.
Yes.
And you lived there for quite a long time till you moved out like towards my area, right?
Yep, all the way up till 2014, 15, something like that. And then that's when I started the company, the construction company. And then I kind of, first year in business, I figured out like I got a map out and I put dots on all the jobs I did. And Yuba City was actually the hub, like the center point. So I was looking around for a place to rent, and the closest that I can afford was in Gridley. So.
Yep, I remember that house. So yeah. I want to back up to when we met. It was on a construction site. We were doing concrete. You guys were doing a metal building. And I remember just like, I didn't know who this guy was, but I remember just like seeing him walking on these like beams 20 feet up in the air, and I was like, oh my God, dude, if this guy fell right now, I was like, that would be so crazy, And I think I ended up helping you guys like a couple days, and I worked with you, but I remember just being so intimidated by putting up this metal building, and like you were just so fluid and like crawling around on the beams, and I was like, oh God, this is terrifying. But we worked a couple full days, and then we ended up talking about music because we were asking like what each other were into and stuff. And when you told me you were a drummer, I was like, oh, we should jam. And then I remember you're like, but I play metal. And I'm like, I don't care what you play, dude. Like, let's just play, because I didn't have anyone to jam with at that moment. So I remember the first time going over to your house, and I brought I think I just brought my guitar, and you had an old Carvin amp there, I believe, or maybe.
No, I think it was
a line 6. It was a line 6 amp, yeah. And I remember just like not knowing what to do, and I just started playing weird stuff, and you were just like jamming with me like so good, and I was like, God, this guy's an awesome drummer. And so
it was fun.
I think that's like when our friendship really started, and Man, just looking at you now, bro, like at your space and everything, like I just want to say I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
Because I started my business and started going and venturing out on my own, like at that same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day we were sitting there and you had just moved to the area and you were like, man, you know a lot of people, your phone's blowing up, like, you know, and I could tell you were like worried about maybe getting jobs and stuff,
Right.
you know, but
it was
now,
slow.
yeah, but I mean now, like, you're one of the hardest working and most successful friends that I have, and I just like I truly
Likewise,
appreciate
brother.
that. Yeah, it's really cool. So
It's fun. It's awesome to see kind of, you know, how things naturally transpire with friendships and how they, you know, come together and then see how they match up, and you know, it's almost like inadvertently pushing ourselves sometime in some way or another. You know, you're kind of like you just kind of fall into that clique. You know, the same with my, you know, buddies down south. You know, they start their own businesses or they get their own house, and they're, you know, everybody's just trying to, you know, progress in life and get what they always wanted.
Yeah, I remember like coming over to jam, and sometimes we wouldn't even jam. We'd just sit there and talk about different business ideas, and we could both see each other's brains just like working, and we'd come up with all these ideas and stuff. And I remember just like sitting there listening to you about all these ideas you had with like metal buildings and stuff. And it was always just like thinking outside of the box, you know, and it was always like trying to come up with new ways to do things. And like, I really liked that about you, about how you just, you know, are always trying to be different than anyone else and trying to do things bigger and better and more efficient. And
main thing is more efficient and being creative, innovative, and everything creative. You know, so like that's what it's all about, not staying stagnant and just evolving to a better path. You know,
yeah, most definitely. So like what do you enjoy more? I mean, obviously it's probably the drums is what you probably enjoy most in life. And I remember at one point you had told me like, you know, you wanted to start your own business so you had more freedom to do the drums, but then we all know how that goes. So
yeah, and it worked out that way in the beginning, because when I first started the business, it was so slow. It was 2011, coming out of that 2008 recession.
Yep.
And I remember, you know, before I even got the contractor license, my associates are, you know, they're like, you're crazy for doing that. And they kind of pushed me to do it even more. It's like, I'll eat freaking meal deal 5s from Taco Bell as much as I have to or whatever. And it took about 3 or 4 years to where it started turning around a little more. I mean, I'm trying to.
I know that exact feeling because I'm still doing that. Like, I invest so much into everything that I love. Like, I feel I'm comfortable, you know. I don't ever go like hungry or anything like that. But also sometimes I'm wondering, should I stop buying all this gear? But dude, it's for the love of what I do. Like, even if only a few hundred people watch this podcast, like to me, I'm just happy and it's fun to do it. It's fun to get here. You just told me like while I was setting all this stuff up, you were like, man, it looks like you have fun doing this. And
absolutely.
I just love it, dude, you know? And I could tell the same thing with you. If you look in this studio, you have all this stuff like, and all these things to play with. And I'm sure you're still figuring things out, like, you know, and it's fun to figure these little problems out.
Yeah. It's nice to get it to this point. You know, I was going to do all this other finished work on the walls, but we ended up just painting it so it looked better. But I ended up liking the way that OSB or the plywood looks painted like that. And we'll probably put some sound treatment in, and, you know.
Well, what's cool is like you built this yourself, you know, or I don't know if you had like your crew help you or whatever, but
absolutely did.
You know, it's like, it's something that you have your name on, you know, so that's always cool. I always like when I look back at like a concrete slab that somebody built a building on, I'm like, oh, I did that concrete. It feels good, you know? So when it's your own and you walk in here, you're probably like, this is awesome. This is my space. I built it myself and worked really hard to get it, you know, I'm still telling my girlfriend all the time, like, I wish I had a space like this for me, but like our band still rehearses like in my living room, you know, because I don't have the space for it right now. But you know, that's something maybe to talk about in the future, and
Yeah, we'll get something for you.
get something going. Yeah. So, what's really awesome when I met you too is like your group of friends. You know, I remember that was probably 7-8 years ago when I got a phone call from you.
The Taylor effect.
Yeah. Ironically, again, I was asked to play the bass, even though I'm a guitar player. But you said, "Hey, we want to do this '90s cover band type of deal," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I came up here and dusted my old bass off, and I think the strings were still rusted. But I was like, "I'll go play, and then I'll get some new strings after today." But you ended up not being able to pursue it. You were busy, but then they still wanted me to play the bass. So it was Jake and Andy, and then Andy's brother, Nick.
Yep.
And I ended up going out to Willows, and I'd go out there a few times and play with them, and like ended up being like some of the coolest dudes I've met. Them. You know, me and Jake now, Jake Peters, we're like, I consider him one of my best friends, and I talk to him almost daily, you know, and even though he's all the way in North Carolina, he's still like a good friend of mine. And I would have never known him if I'd never had met you. So the world is crazy like that.
I know. And that happens through business, music, all kinds of different ways. But it's kind of cool to think about how things come together and you meet new people and things stick and things don't.
Yep.
You know, they last forever or part of your life or not, you know.
So as far as music, you know, hold on. God damn seat. Okay. As far as music, like, where are you trying to take that? Like, is there any projects that you're working on now? Is there anything that you're doing serious? Is it all for fun? Like, where are you standing right now with as far as music?
Pretty much all the above. Like, for me, I don't expect anything without, you know, like, I'm not like trying to make money doing music. I went down and there's projects going on right now. There's multiple projects. Some of it's really heavy and nasty.
I know you like to play metal, dude.
Yeah, and then, you know, I'm always working with Glenn Alvarez. He's one of the, you know, OGs of the thrash metal scene, and he's a master, and I'm honored to always be a part of that. But I just don't expect anything. I guess what taught me that or showed me that was when I was in school for it in Hollywood. I did a semester at Musicians Institute.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I learned a lot, you know, and I learned how to spin my credit card and max that out. And
Sweetwater?
No. It was just a Capital One friggin', you know, getting food and paying rent and just, man, it was fun. Like, I never thought I'd enjoy living in a city, but I lived right there, you know, like that scene where, was it Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts comes down the stairs or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've lived in a complex right across the street from that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw some cool stuff down there. It was always entertaining and full of creative stuff, and it was never a dull moment down there, you know.
Yeah, I tried living down there once, and it didn't work out for me, man. It was too much, too fast paced, too many people, too much traffic. Like,
well, I didn't have to go anywhere because I just walked to school. It was right there on Hollywood Boulevard, you know.
That makes things easier.
Yeah, and I met a lot of good friends there, and they actually ended up being friends of, like, later down the road. It's weird how we were talking, like, Will from Deserters. I went to school with one of his good friends that he grew up with, and we all connected randomly.
And that was a band that you were in, right?
Yeah, Deserters, yeah.
I remember you showing me some music videos. I'll throw them up if that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
While
sure.
we're talking so people can see. Yeah, I remember, like, when you first showed me the music you were playing, I was like, there's no way I can hang with this, you know, being a guitar player. I play, you know, alternative rock, 90s rock, more easy listening rock and like the heavy metal stuff. I'm just not built to play it, but I always appreciate seeing it be done, you know? Like I don't even really listen to metal much, but I love like watching it be performed because it's so crazy and technical. Like you guys' minds are on a whole nother level.
Well, to be completely candid, I don't listen to metal that much either. You know, like I don't listen to it a lot. I don't really listen to music a lot.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I would think that you're just like always listening to music.
No, I don't.
As good as you are on the drums, I figure like you just listen to all kinds of different stuff. Cause I remember like I'll pop in here and just like play some funky, groovy thing, and then like you just hop right in and play. And I remember one time you were like, man, I like jamming with you because it's forcing me to do things that I've never done before, you know, or like things that I'm not used to doing.
That's what I look for, and I tend to, you know, keep trying to do. Like, and like I was telling you earlier, you know, with Will, by far, you know, he was the person that when we go writing together, it just totally brings out the most creative part of my drumming. And I don't consider, you know, I appreciate you, you know, saying so many nice things about my drumming, man. But, you know, I feel like if I don't know, try or like I don't listen to music or whatever, it's really more of a natural thing.
Yeah.
You know,
you're just naturally good at them, bro. And I don't care what you say. You're one of my favorite drummers there are. So,
well, it's almost like it's not going to be. I don't know where it's going to come from, or like I know like my biggest inspirations are Igor Cavalera from Sepultura, and you know the first stuff was Lars, Metallica, and obviously Vinnie Paul. You know, and I was into, you know, a bunch of other different metal bands like Fear Factory and.
But what I'm saying is, if something happened to Lars, and Metallica called you today and was like, "Hey, we're gonna go on the road in like 4 weeks with these 15 songs. Can you learn them?" I think you would slay it, bro.
Oh, I mean,
I think you would just slay it.
That's
dude.
Sorry, Lars, if you ever somehow watch this, but yeah, it would be easy.
Well, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I know when I give you compliments, you're very humble, and you're like, yeah, you know, but like, dude, you're literally I played with a lot of people, dude, and I played with a lot of drummers, and you are one of the best drummers I've ever seen, like with my eyeballs. So. It's really cool that I get to be here, hang out with you, play music, got you on the podcast. Like, it's just a super cool feeling, you know? So I appreciate you wanting to do this with me. So
yeah, I'm stoked because there is some music coming out, you know.
Well, that's what I was wondering. You're working on a project right now, or?
Yeah. So Vile Wrath, me, Will, Cheese, members of Deserters, Will singing. He recorded the rhythms and the bass tracks. Cheese came in, just did these crazy leads, dude. And I can't wait till this stuff comes out. It's awesome because it's like one of those things where not everybody's gonna like this stuff, obviously, you know, but it's so uncomfortable and you know, like I love all kinds of music. I love if I hear something, you know, and it's unique, especially with the singers, you know, I'm big on singers. I love like new sounds vocally, but this stuff is just fucking nuts. Yeah. It's real like it's slower, and it's if you can check out All But Six stuff too. That was the last project we did. That's probably the more extreme drumming I tracked. There's a lot of creative stuff in that all around musically, you know.
I'll definitely throw up some links so people can check it out. But I remember when you showed me some of the lyrics to the Deserter songs, I was like, oh, this is crazy.
I know. Maddie is phenomenal, man. Like the
video of you guys was it an elevator? Like that was such a cool video. I remember watching that. That was a cool video.
Yeah, that was just a couple. I don't even know if it was cardboard or what. Like they made a box, and then like me and Will would go behind when it wasn't our turn in the, in the elevator.
It wasn't a real elevator.
We would push the doors together. It was just a set.
It's so cool, like behind the scenes of music videos, like how they were done. Like one of our videos, Sleeper. It's literally just us in my garage with a black sheet behind us.
I know, right? I know, because you see like the vulnerability of everything, and then what's really awesome is how it comes together, and you see it on video. You never know.
But the next shot of the Sleeper music video, that was a pain in the butt to get. Like me and my girlfriend like directed and produced that video, and we had this projector of bees on the wall behind us. But
that was cool.
One of the shots, like we were on a ladder, and I think like Billy was holding me Derek was holding onto my legs while I was holding a projector, and Shauna was underneath me getting an overhead shot of Billy because we wanted the bees on the snare drum. And so like I wish somebody had a picture of that, because it was just like, dude, we were like, and he did the whole take, the whole song. It's like a 6-minute song. And wow. I just held this projector, and Shauna was holding the camera. And it was like when we got done, we were like, that's the last shot of the day. We are done. We're tired of this. But it's cool watching music videos be brought together with it, like even just the most minimal material to make it be done.
Yeah, that's what I was really, like impressed with when I experienced that down there. It was, they brought in some actors, they put a table out and put a cloth over it, and then they painted their faces, and they just did this thing. And Matty did his thing. He was more the actor in the band. It was pretty awesome. Yeah. Nice.
So, what do you do? What are you doing right now for like fun? What's like your getaway? What do you like to do when? Well, I'm sure you work 7 days a week, even when you're not working. Us business owners, we do that, but. What's like your shut off? I'm going to go relieve some stress and just chill.
Well, it would be probably playing Texas Hold'em tournaments, but I haven't done that lately. I was more into it, before the COVID thing, which is probably a good thing. I had to put pause on that, but, and then, going out to the lake or, just getting in here and messing around, working on music, I mean, that's what's weird too is, once I started the company and things started rolling, I didn't have time. I remember missing out on opportunities all the time, even with Glenn. I wouldn't be able to, perform or get any time in for him. And then I got this built finally, and I started, COVID hit, and it kind of like started slowing things down. It started forcing us to slow down and, with the business. And I kind of took advantage of it. I was like, you know what, we'll just start building this out. And, but what sucks is I went so long without playing consistently. There was one time where I didn't play drums for 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I was like, there was a gap too when I didn't play guitar for a long time. And then one day I just picked it up, and because I didn't have anyone to play with, Derek had moved away. And I just picked it up and started playing it one day, and then everything just kind of fell back into place. It was weird. Once I started playing, like Derek called and said he was moving home, and then we started playing shows, and then I hadn't talked to Billy in forever. Like I grew up with Billy, or I didn't grow up with him, but I've known him a really long time. And all of a sudden he comes home and jumps in the band. And so it was like everybody just kind of, all I had to do, I guess, was just pick up the guitar and start playing again.
Yeah, I remember there was a time where you were in limbo, and then I hadn't talked to you for a while, and then all of a sudden you got this badass band together that's playing the Senator, and almost like, what?
Well, we were real quiet for a minute. We were playing like little loop station shows. Me and Derek were to save up money to record an album. And once we recorded that album, it was just a demo, dude. It was a 1 day, very low budget, basically one take. But once we put that on a record, it made all of us so motivated. And then we were like, okay, let's get out here. Let's start grinding. Let's start playing some shows. And I mean, we played a show in Chico at the Maltese, literally for our girlfriends. Like that was it. The only people in the crowd was 3 people, and it was our girlfriends. And all of a sudden, you know, you fast forward like a year and a half later, we're opening up for these big bands at the Senator, and we're going all over the place, and Reno and Southern California and Oregon, and doing things. And then, like you said, COVID hit, bro, and it was like it was devastating. One, because
you were picking up steam. Yeah,
we had a lot of momentum, and it just stopped. And that was like the biggest thing that sucked. But then like the next biggest thing that sucked is like me and Shauna, we'd go to a lot of concerts and comedy shows. Like that was like the thing that we like to do the most, you know, go to festivals and comedy shows and stuff like that. Well, then all that stopped. So, dude, there was so many weeks just sitting on the couch, like not doing anything, not going anywhere. It like drove all of us insane. And so that's why we ended up getting a razor. At least we could go out and, you know, screw around and ride out. And then they closed the parks that one year because of fires. So we're like, damn it, we finally got something where we can go and do things. And then they close everything down. But, you know, it just makes you realize like how fast like everything can just stop. And then it's up to you to be able to either like be creative or do things that can keep you busy and stay mentally on track.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, and it's probably not good, but, you know, I've been doing the steel business. I've been in the industry since I was 17, so it's over 20 years. And, you know, when COVID hit and things started slowing down, I was like, cool. You know, like I'm just gonna, you know.
So here you were.
Do what I have to.
Here you were, you know, 10 years ago, like sweating, wanting things to pick up, and then you had done.
It was a challenge, you know, and it was a challenge, and I've always been after challenges, you know, and I think I put it to somebody, excuse me, one way. It's like, you know, the thrill's gone, man. You know, like I still love building buildings and figuring out ways to make them look better and do whatever I can. You know, I bought a brake machine in the shop, you know, so I could break my own sheet metal trim and customize stuff. I drew up a houseboat.
I saw that, dude. That was super cool.
You know, and made that come to life, you know, and all that kind of thing, you know.
What's cool is I have a friend that built a houseboat. Built his own houseboat. The craziest thing I ever saw you do was the project that you hired me for, it was so fun. That was down in where was that, man? Lodi.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing. That was probably the craziest, other than being on the steel and walking across stupid shit. Like, you know, like I walked across brace cables before.
Yeah,
you know, and they're like 3/8 rope.
Just so the listeners can get a visual, I might even throw the video up real quick too, so they can see. But like Jake calls me and he's like, "Hey, I've got this pretty awesome project going on in Lodi. Can you come down and get some drone footage?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I remember I was so busy at that time too, and like I wanted to tell you no, but then I also didn't. And then you're like, "Man, I'll compensate you really well. Just like I need to get this on footage." And I was like, okay, it really means something to him. I got to. So when I get down there, I was like, okay, this is what's going on. And I'll put up the clip because it was one of the coolest things I've ever filmed with my drone. But then also like see you pick up this monstrosity of metal and just pick it straight up and literally take hours. I don't know how long it took.
It seemed like hours, trust me.
What was it like? It
was like a half hour to get it, or it probably wasn't a half hour but I was pulling that thing this slow so it can go like over 180 degrees swing.
It was so wild just watching all that metal just move right into place, just exactly how you planned it, dude. And
it was a lot of calculating, and then there was some things about it that weren't factored in that actually helped it. Like the way it was rigged up it kind of like wasn't sitting flat, and it was almost at an angle. So like the post it was connecting to met up with it perfectly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, dude, thank you. Thank you, Lord.
It was really cool to watch that. And it was at that moment when I would, because there was a lot of time during those 2 days that I filmed where I was just sitting in my van waiting and watching you guys, waiting for you to get everything prepped for the big move. Because I only had so much drone battery, and I was trying to film as much as I could. I had like 3 or 4 batteries, and I was charging them, trying to get as much footage as possible. But I'd have to sit in the van every now and then. And I remember just like looking out and watching you operate that crane. And that was the moment when I was like, dude, I'm so proud of Jake right now. I'm so happy for him because I hadn't seen you in a long time either. And, you were still trying to get your business up off the ground like one of the last times I seen you.
Yep.
And then I show up to this location. I'm like, okay, he's doing things. Like, this is awesome.
Serious shit.
It was really cool to experience that. I just always love watching my friends come up and do, like, keep doing better and better and better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And one thing about that is like that project and getting that footage meant so much to me because I didn't know I was going to feel this way, but I usually don't like pat myself on the back about things, but I didn't ever run a crane before.
I remember you telling me that.
And I went through the class to save some money because it would have been a lot to hire a company to come out and then try and like explain to them what I'm doing. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do this. Like,
I remember saying, like, I was like, I didn't know you know how to operate this. You're like, I don't, but I just took a class. So
yeah. So what I was getting at was like, I don't pat myself on the back that much, but after doing, that pic that you got on the film, that big roof section, I was like, wow, that was ballsy.
That was for like a 2-story bowling alley or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was really cool watching that be done. So I just look at all your work, and it seems like you just go, you just go above and beyond what the next guy is doing. Like me, I see metal buildings every single day in my industry doing concrete. Like I'm always looking at them. And I'm always seeing how well they're built and stuff. And there's some guys in the area that do a really well job. But like when I look at your buildings, I'm like, man, this is beautiful.
I try to make sure that, I take things as if it's mine, and then I'll lose money to take it apart if something wasn't put on right, screw patterns, anything, making sure lines are parallel, even if things aren't completely level. I don't know. I have to have it looking like it grew there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's just the pictures that you post on your page of buildings that are just like over the top, really cool with all these like blacked out windows and the color scheme and the shape of them are different. I don't know if you leave a lot of buildings out and you just post those ones because they're really crazy, but I feel like you're like me in a sense where if somebody comes to me and it was like, hey, I want this sidewalk that just goes from here to here. Like my creative mind is like, hey, what if we did this and this weird design and this weird shape? I think it would really like accent your house and make it look a lot cooler. And then they're like, oh yeah. And I'll draw it out for them so they can see it. I feel like you probably do that in
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And that's what's cool because, Norcal Steel Buildings has gotten that reputation and they know that, hey, Jake's behind it, and I know from firsthand looking through references or however they found us, they know what they're going to get. And I love that too. I gotta, and hats off to my guys too. I love them. They love me. Andy's one of them. And, Cody, they,
Cody that was here earlier works for you?
No,
that's a different Cody?
Yeah. Cody Sheehan. I taught him how to do trim. That's the main thing, is like making sure the building is square.
Pull this mic towards you a little bit more.
Yeah,
cool.
Making sure the building's square, and if it's not, then knowing how to handle it.
Yeah,
to where it looks like it's perfect. You know what I mean?
I see it in your work, man. Your work is it's beautiful. Every time I see you post a picture of one of the buildings you've made, I'm like, man, even your building here, I'm like, God, that's like my dream building. I would love to have something like that one day. And one day I will. And I already know who's going to build it when I do it. So, and you just mentioned your company name, and I remember the first time you drew out your logo on paper, and you're like, hey, I need to like be able to put this on websites and stuff. And I was like, all right. And I remember vectoring it for you. And it's just cool to be part of companies, especially when they start out. Like I do a lot of logos for people and a lot of graphic design for people, but like my favorite is when someone's just starting out and all the ideas are coming in still. And it's like, we're trying to figure out, hey, should we do this? Should we do that? Should this line be this degree or that degree, and like the creative process. And then like, I look at your hat right now, I'm like, cool. I helped make that logo. I mean, you designed it, like you drew it all out, but it was cool that I got to help vector it and make it an actual digital piece of art. So,
and it's evolved too. I got, Glenn's guitar tech, Brad, he did the newest one, and it's like, I don't know, you zoom in on it, it's just all textured, and it's like what I always envisioned. Yep. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. And then like the Steelman Studio logo, he did
That's a cool logo. It's like the Superman shape, but
it's like the state, the drum riser.
Okay. I never even noticed that. The drum rise here is kind of in the shape of the Superman logo.
The whole studio is, except for that wall.
Wow, I never even noticed that either. That's super awesome. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's creativity.
It is, man. I always said, like, with my podcast, I want people on here that are creative, and a lot of people would think, first off, like, music or art, as far as like drawing or painting and stuff like that. Like, being creative and art is all kinds of different things. Woodworking, building buildings, pouring concrete. Like, pouring concrete is an art, It is. Even just doing a square slab. I remember you saying, and a few other builders around here, like, they want us to do their slabs for them because, we take a lot of pride in our work and they look really good and they're perfectly square.
Yep.
But our problem is we don't like to go outside of Biggs, Gridley, or Richville because we don't have to, Exactly. So like we're there and we have plenty of work in that area. I would love to be able to travel along with you and do slabs all over the place, but if I don't have to leave town, then I don't have to leave town,
And to be fair, that's pretty much where I'm at now here. Like, I do a select jobs, and they're really local. And
it's nice when you don't have to travel, dude. It's like such more of a headache when you gotta.
Well, the guys, you have to have more help, and then the guys get burnt out on it, especially like that Lodi job, the bowling alley. It was, they just get burnt out. It's just a long job, and people get pissed. And
got to stay in hotels, but then you also want to drive back home to see your friends and family. So it's like,
and then they start getting pissed at the boss because he isn't there all the time, and because he's the boss, and you have to go get shit done.
Yeah,
and it just gets like. Then you got a mutiny, and then I'm like, fuck this shit, man. I'm gonna like help customers get the customer service with the Norcal thing the best I can, the support, and if I have the time or they want to pay for us to come out, we'll do it.
So I remember a while back you were talking to me about your website and the plans that you were wanting to do. Did you get? I haven't looked. The last time I looked, I could go on there and design a freaking building.
Yeah.
The color that I wanted, the shape that I wanted. Like, I've always looked at metal buildings online. It's all call now, call now. And you just get like this generic plan. And I remember you having the idea to where like you could literally just build the building of your dreams right on the website. And I don't know if you guys have done more to it or not, but the last time I looked at it, I was like, that's super awesome.
All we're doing right now is just basically adding projects because there's not very many. It's like a naked site, people go on. We're able to give them a discount for using those online builder tools. And
that was like the social type aspect of it that you were talking about, right? I didn't know if that was still in the works, or if we don't talk about that yet.
That's going to happen though.
Okay.
Like, so we're still at phase 1 of 5. Eventually it'll be a whole, ideally we don't know if it's going to get to that point. But we want to have a whole community helping each other support, like in regions, like, okay, you're over in Calaveras County. We use 3 customers over there bought and built their own building. And now they're in this community, and other people that are looking to buy in that region can reach out to them, and then they get points. It's like giving back, like it seems fair to me. Like it's like it takes the weight off of me or anybody that's actually working to process these orders.
It's just such a genius idea, because I remember when you first told me about it and how you wanted it to work out, I was like, dang, that is like such an awesome idea, because I get phone calls all the time just like asking me what my laser can do, and it's like they turn into 5, 10, 15-minute conversations where it's like, if there was a social side of things where they could ask it on the website and other people could answer for them, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that would be so awesome. My laser company's not big enough to where like I would need to do something like that. But if I could in the future, it's just such an awesome idea.
That's why the idea is there in case it does get to that point. And then also we want to be able to get them into this learning portal. And that's not implemented yet. It's, you go into a learning portal, you set up your account, and you go through this whole...
There's a lot to do with websites when you start getting into things like that, and customers and usernames and logins and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's going to get intricate, but they'll end up being able to like save a ton of money, because they're learning how to build their own building for one. They're understanding how not to get screwed by these other companies that just do nothing but sell buildings across the country. There's thousands of them, and it's like, just come here, learn, take the time to learn and get through all these quizzes and everything, these videos. And then you're going to see your points and gain badges or whatever, whatever we come up with, and save thousands of dollars, because we're not doing the work, and they know exactly what they want, So that was the idea anyway.
So I wanted to get back on drumming real quick, because there's a few things that I guess I've never asked you, so I don't know. But as far as drummers, like, who's your biggest inspiration for drumming?
Ooh, well, I mean, Vinnie Paul, Pantera. I know when Noah... So one of my best friends, he's the one that got me into heavy music. He's the, preacher's son of the church. He showed me this Pantera live song, Cemetery Gates, like back in, 2000.
Was that in black and white?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it was like the live version. Yeah, the 101 proof. Yeah.
On the video, or was there a video of it in black and white? Oh, okay,
no,
never mind.
No. Well, there's a black and white video of, the Cowboys from Hell album back in 1990. But they did a 101 proof live album, and it changed my life, dude. Like, listening to like the way the drums sound, like how everything was just coming together with that song, and just started going down the rabbit hole, Well,
that song too, it grabs you, bro, because it starts off as just like this nice, smooth, melodic thing going on, and then like Dimebag just comes in with the craziest high pitches and just bends, and then all of a sudden just
gives me chills thinking about it, and it's just so raw with that live recording with the vocals and just how everything sounds. It's like, I just knew, you know, I really took to that, but there's not really like a big inspiration, you know, other than him, Vinnie Paul, Igor Cavalera with Sepultura, and no other drummers really stick out to me, you know?
Gotcha. I would have to say, as far as guitars, I always murder his last name, but dude from Incubus, Mike Eisinger, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
yeah,
dude. We went and watched Incubus live backstage. A buddy of mine, our bass player Mo, he gave me backstage passes to Incubus, and like, I think the most exciting thing about that whole entire show was literally, I was like, from me to here, his pedal board was just sitting there on the table, and I like looked at Shauna. I'm like, Shauna, that's Mike's pedal board. She's all cool, and I'm like, no, it's
just like, cool, man.
Dude, his pedal board is so crazy. It's like 3 different pieces put together. That, I mean, it's huge. It wraps all the way around him. So like, I've always just like looked at pictures and studied his pedal board, because I'm like, dude, if I could ever have someone else's pedal board, that'd be the one that I picked. And then the way he writes songs, it's like, I love doing those little things. I did it on our last album a lot, where I'm just hitting a few strings and I'm not really like riffing hard. I'm just doing little fill-in notes and letting the rest of the music talk. And like, he's just one of my biggest inspirations as far as guitar playing.
I love Incubus.
Yeah, dude, they're such a cool band.
I love that drummer too. I don't know his name, but I've always took to that. And, you know, even, you know, Abe Cunningham, Deftones. Mm-hmm. You know, I got to give that guy credit too, because I know that's influenced me a lot.
What's crazy about them too is like, when I listen to Deftones, it always feels like the drum beats are like really simple. But then when I just try and isolate the drums, I'm like, whoa, okay, I start hearing all these little like ghost notes and little fills. Like, it's not just like a, you know,
it's
a
just
regular
his pocket, you know, like how he goes in with the guitar riff. And it's just perfect every time.
I love when on Deftones, like when they end a chorus or something, the guitar will just ring out, and then all of a sudden you just hear, you know, he just comes in with the drums as that guitar is just ringing out. That's one of my favorite things from the Deftones, and they do it so much and they do it so awesome. You know, a lot of bands, when they do things like that a lot, it seems repetitive, but with them, like, I want them to do it in every single song because they do it so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're one of the greatest for sure.
Yeah. I got screwed out of 2 Deftones concerts when I was younger. One of them, they just didn't play, and there was no explanation for it at all. And then
Gino was coked out.
Yeah. And then the next time we went to watch them, like, they came out and it was like they were playing and they like went through almost the whole song, no singing. Everybody was kind of like, what's going on? And it was like an instrumental, and then all of a sudden it ended and we're like, oh, we can't perform tonight. And then, oh, no, that didn't happen. They were playing, all of a sudden Chino came out and just started kicking shit over, slammed down some microphones and fucking things up. And then they were like, everybody stopped. Sorry, Deftones can't perform tonight. And I was like, damn, that was twice. And that made me not like them. I had spent money to go watch them, and I was like no longer a fan. Fast forward, 10 years or so. My girlfriend Shauna, she's a huge Deftones fan. Mm-hmm. So like she would put them on all the time. And at this moment, I'm still like, you know what? Fuck these guys, dude.
I don't blame you. That sucks.
But then we went and we seen them at Aftershock, and the energy, they killed it, bro. They were spot on.
What year was that?
What year was that? Do you know?
Because I might have been there also.
Yeah, it was the first year they went to Discovery Park, right? Yeah, and dude, he must have broken like probably 9 SM57 mics, you know, or at 58, whatever they are. But anyways, the concert was so electrifying. It was it was so cool. It was like redemption. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm a fan again. I started listening to him again all the time. And Sean would be like, I thought you don't like him. I'm like, dude, I always did like him, but I held a grudge because I lost money going to watch him. You know,
that's just like you go to watch this iconic band, and then they act like turds, you know?
Yeah, you know, and to be fair, also, like, I remember, you know, 5-6 years ago when me and Derek were doing shows and stuff, like, I would get tuned up, dude. Like, I would get stoned, drink a bunch of whiskey, like, eat a Norco. Like, I was, like, all kinds of, you know, faded.
Yep.
And we would say and do dumb shit. And then like someone would post a clip on it of like on Facebook, you know, and like I'm telling people in the crowd they're bitches and shit, you know, and I'm like, that's not cool. You know, even though like, you know, they're not paying big money to come watch us, but I'm like, that's not cool. And, you know, I've been about 4 years now. Like I literally maybe have a drink a couple times a year. Like I don't like drinking anymore. I don't like partying. And I feel like when we show up to play a show, we all do our job. Yep. We give the fans what they want. We treat it like a job. And that's what you got to do, man. And then afterwards, if people want to party, go ahead and party. But I tell everyone in the crew, like, even if you want to just help us carry stuff, like you're not drinking, you're going to, you know, be on point because you're representing the band. And it's no longer just background music at a bar. You know, we're playing shows that people are spending money to go watch, and you got to be professional.
Yeah. And you're performing as a professional.
Correct.
At that point. If that's what you want to do, you know, I'm sure you can just play those little dive bars that,
we know a lot of people think that it's just like all fun and games playing a show, and you've played a lot of shows, so you know. But like you start playing some of these bigger shows, it's like you only got a couple minutes to get all your shit off stage. You know, you got a set amount of time. You don't go over that time. You don't go under that time. You play that amount of time, and like it starts getting crazier and crazier. But what people don't realize is like a 45-minute set is like an 8-hour long day. It's like a whole work day between loading up equipment, setting up, sound check, playing, breaking down, loading up. Like, it's a lot of work, dude. And so
it is. I was in a country cover band for a long time.
You were in a country cover band?
Yeah. We played casinos and weddings, Northern Heat, with Jason Powell and Ronnie Ramsey. Nick actually started playing with them.
I know that. I know them now just because of Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, I got Nick the gig.
Okay.
You know, because I couldn't do it anymore. It was just every weekend or every other weekend and playing for 4 hours and shit. It's like, dude, I can't, you know. It was crazy.
It turns into a lot of work, man. So, well, shoot, what do you plan on? Like, where do you see yourself in the future? Like, I know you're not done. You know, I know you've got things on your mind. What do you got going on?
Well, we got this Vile Wrath band now. Will's super excited about it. It's not just like one of those, you know, creative projects alone where there's nothing in it. You know, there's a very real potential of us playing maybe some live shows here and there, you know, down south or whatever, you know, one-offs or whatever. What would be awesome, you know, obviously with Glenn too, you know, we're doing a couple projects with him. One of them's he's wanting to play live soon. I want to play live again because it's been a long time. It's almost been a decade since I was on tour with Deserters and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean,
you start to miss it, man, because it does something to your body, man.
I enjoy writing music and doing this and jamming and doing my own thing more, you know, predominantly. But with now, it's like, you know what, we need to get our sound right. We need to get you know, on stage and just rip some shit up. You know,
it's a whole new feeling playing live, like just, you know, the interaction with the crowd, the vibe in the building, you feel that energy. And then, dude, I don't know about you, but when we get done playing shows, I go home and I lay down and I just stare at the ceiling for like hours because I still have adrenaline. And I don't think it matters how many shows you ever play in your life. I don't think that'll ever go away from me. Just like that feeling I get when I get home and I'm like, man, there was like, we sold out this venue and the crowd was wild. And, it was just, it was hearing people sing our songs. And I don't know. Awesome. It's just a really cool feeling. I know you're probably a super busy dude, and I know I'm a very, very super busy dude, but I've been talking to Jake Peters, and we were wanting to do, like, make a couple songs, like maybe 3 or 4 songs, and just throw them on Spotify as a whole new entity, and just, and it would all be, long distance recording, remote recording, and see what we come up, because that last time Jake was visiting, we wrote something cool in this room, and I don't remember what it was, but I have it on my phone. and
Sweet.
And I think it would be really cool to just even take that, everybody record their parts, put it together, and see what happens. And I think it would just be fun, even if we didn't ever like play shows or anything. It'd just be cool to throw online. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just as great for me, is just being able to make music. Whoever, whenever I can, and I love it. I love the hell out of it.
Well, sweet. Let's work on that, and I'll talk to Jake about that, and we'll think of a name. So if anybody has any name recommendations, put it down in the comments, and we'll pick one and write this song. I think it'd be cool. Yeah. So, anyways, I know we're running short on time today, but I really appreciate doing this with me, and I'd love to do this again and talk about more stuff that we probably left out today, because I know there's a lot of stuff. And that was basically an overview, a quick one for sure. Well, I wanted people to know who you are, because I talk to a lot of people about you, with the metal buildings and drumming, and I just think you're a really cool person, and they've never met you. So this will be cool for them to get to know who you are, and then I'm sure you'll be sharing it with people that I don't know, and maybe they might like some of the stuff I'm doing. So I really, really appreciate that, Greg. Yeah, I love you, bro. It's super cool. Appreciate you, Jake. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.